Hey guys, today we're talking about every step of the way from the beginning to the end of the hunt on how to get the Felcycle or Incognitro. It has a really hard name. But this video will take into account that you have already watched every single item requirement and you have unlocked Rat's Revenge. And well, a huge thank you to the WoW secret finding community because this video would not be possible without them. So let's get into it. First step is the easiest. You're going to the Barrens using the Torch of Pirate, and then you get a buff. Then you jump to the second location and the location after that. The first one is right here in the Barrens. Next location is the trickiest because, well, there are a lot of locations. I'm leaving the one I got, but there is 3 more locations on wowhead depending on how far you progressed Warlords of Draenor. So check all of them. I hope you find Olgaro in one of them. And the last step is Maldraxx's. It's really easy, not like the Olgaro one. You just come here, use the Torch of Pirate, and you're done. Also, I wanna add that the exact coordinates of my character is always below the minimap. So if you ever were trying to find out where I am, just check there. The next step is the park thingies and the Nazat stuff. Now, if you haven't done the BFA campaign, you're gonna be needing to do that because you won't have access to this version of the map. Zidormi will just not be there. Like, you have only access to the base Pandaria map. You need to do the campaign for the, I think it's 8.3, and you get access to the new zone. People have done this in the old version, but I'm not risking that because there's been a few comments that it doesn't work in that version. Next thing I want to add is that the location is above the tower because I actually went downstairs looking for the thing, but no, it's just right behind here. You're gonna be targeting the Nazat thingy, then do everything in order. You will summon your Perky Pug, use the Dog Siren custom on it, and then equip the head cosmetic for the Nazat. Doesn't matter which version you have. I have the BFA one from the 8.2. It's a really short quest chain. That's the easiest in my opinion. And then only after you have everything out, you want to type in /pray. Now again, people have done this in the old version, but it's not really worth the risk. Like, it's 25k for the Dog Siren thing. So best not do that. Doing everything in order and right, you will get the Keys of Shadows and get access to 2 new rooms in the Rat's Revenge. Now if you do not have access to this location and if you haven't unlocked everything, I have a lot of videos explaining what you need to do for the Felcycle. They're on the same playlist, so make sure to check them. Now that you have access to these rooms, you're gonna be fishing in a soup. Now you need the fishing profession for this, and it will take a lot of tries. There have been a few first tries, but usually it takes up to 5 to 10 tries. I got it in my 3rd try, and you just gotta fish from this astral soup thing. So just do that and get the thing that we need. After you fish up the astral key, you get access to the astral chest right behind that. This chest will reward you with a toy. It's called Starry-Eyed Goggles, and you're gonna be needing that for a lot of stuff in the hunt. First thing we're gonna do with these Starry-Eyed Goggles is to decipher the consoles. Now there are a lot of consoles around Rat's Revenge, and it's a really straightforward thing to do, so I'ma just leave the location of every console and the codes you gotta input. So kindly just go to each one of them and input the code. Should be simple. I will talk about the inputting mechanism. Probably most of the people didn't find the way to input the code, so I will talk only about that. The way the mechanisms work is that whenever you right click on one of them, you get a buff. And then without moving, you have access to this new ability on your general tab that will just bring up a number pad. and you can input codes in them one by one. Each time you have completed the sequence, you will push the submit button, it's the mail one, and it's done. The console is done, you can move forward to the other one. Showing every single one of the consoles will make this video an hour-long video, and it's gonna be a very long but nobody watches. So here's the codes and the locations. It's also in the description, it's also in the wowhead guide. Do everything. There's one tricky slaughter, and it's the lucky one. That's where we need the lucky items that we bought on the requirement list. This is the weird part of the console. It doesn't matter which console you use to input the code, and the code could be anything. It's different for everyone. You're gonna be inputting a version of the number 7, like you're gonna be putting 7 first, then 77, then 777, and so on. We got the lucky items for this part right here. I got it at the third one, I got it at 777, but just input everything. Let's hope that you get it in the first few tries. This can take up to 9 sevens behind each other. I'm not gonna pronounce that number, but yeah. After that, there's an easy step. You just come to Ute's tomb, and you have already bought the scroll of Fellbinding. You will use that, or if you are a warlock, you will summon a doom guard. And it's best to be right at the doorway, so it's the closest you can summon that thing. And the Doom Guard will spawn 4 graffitis on the ground. You need to interact with one of them. Not all of them, just one of them is enough. Also, don't panic. The Doom Guard will stay there for a few minutes and then move on. You can easily reach the tomb and interact with one of the graffitis. If you're not a warlock, well, you gotta just run back to the tomb. Interacting with any of the graffitis will do the thing for you, but well, I panicked. I had no idea how long the Doom Guard will stay, and I interacted with all 3 of them. The magnifying glass will not appear, so it's best to just interact with all of them, but one of them should do the work. For the next part, we're going to the Timeless Isle, and you're gonna be needing 3 secret pets to just win a battle pet fight. And if you have no secret pets, well, I have a video on the same playlist. Also, I note that Timeless Isle is not a flying zone, so beware not to fall to your death. Also, you want to make sure that your pets are all leveled to 25. Now you're coming to this cave, you're interacting with a certain rare, and if the rare is not there, or if you kinda bug it out, like you cannot interact with it again, you can actually refresh this with the first ghost urn inside Rat's Ravage, but should be fine. Just come here, talk to the NPC, you will get shifted into another dimension, and you can reach the battle pet NPC that you have to fight. Now there are certain things I want to add for this step of the way. You don't want to interact with any of the chests. You don't want to go inside the detection circle of any of the NPCs around. And if you have Dark Moon Fair active, well, it's your lucky day, because the NPC is alive and well in the Dark Moon Fair. So you don't have to come do all of this. But I had to do it because Dark Moon ended like a week ago when I was recording the video. Now the path is really simple. You just come here, follow the video, do not interact with anything, jump down, and afterwards, depending on the class you have, you gotta skip this one. Now you cannot jump it. I tried, I couldn't just do it, but I did it with the disengage, and you can probably do it with certain class abilities. Just try not to get caught, because if you do, you gotta do this all over. Use grappling hook, use leap, use the warlock portal, or the blink. You can use a lot of stuff. Use your class ability and move forward. As for the battle pet fight itself, well, there are a lot of ways you can win it, but look, there is no certain way because there's 100 possible ways it can go. With the 3 secret pets that we discussed in the other video, it should be really easy to complete, and you can do it probably in a few tries if you have no idea what the battle pet fighting is. I think there was a strategy to the fight. If I find it, I will leave it in the description. Make sure to check the description for that. But it's a simple fight. Just try to win it as soon as you can, because if you give it time, they just heal back. Whether you do that inside the Timeless Isle Cave or do it in Dark Moon Fair, doesn't matter. You will be awarded a Muffin. And now with the Muffin, you gotta come to the goblin statue in the Booty Bay, and there is a certain, well, skeleton that will sell you a curious item that will let you teleport to crystals. The vendor is located behind the big chest beside the spiral stairs, and it only sells you that item. The currencies are the 9 that we got from the consoles that we input the codes in, and the muffin that we acquired through the battle pet section. And now we start the most annoying part. I cannot possibly go through every single way that you can do this part of the hunt, because there's 1,000 ways you can do this. Every single altar here requires something different from you, and you can offer a lot of stuff as a sacrifice. Basically, you're mix and matching a few transmogs, mounts, toys, and battle pets to appease the ghost from the altar. Now I have gone through the requirements back in the requirement video, but I will give you a lot of tips that I encountered and I find very useful. First of all, if you have a friend who has everything, who have gotten the mount, well, ask them. That would be the easiest, or ask in the Discord of the secret finding community. Someone will probably help you. But this is a weird part. The only times I ran into a problem while doing these altars were for the blood, where some of the mounts that have blood in their names didn't work. The one for the last, where you have to get naked, I had a problem with that. If you're using the toy, there is no problem. But if you're taking off your clothes and everything, make sure to take off the trinkets and rings, because apparently they count. Also, as for the novel kit itself will not work. It's just a toy. Like, when you use it, you spawn a new gray or white item, and you need to read that. Now, how will you read that? You just right click on it. Like, right click on it, and that counts as reading the novel, so the spirit will be appeased. If you found yourself struggling and you couldn't just do it, a relog might fix everything for you. Now, depending on your collection, the way you go through this step will be different, but I will try to find the easiest blood and corrupt mount and post videos on the same playlist, but no promises. I also went through everything that you need and explained it as best as I can, but I will find this very annoying. I gave up at this point, because it requires the Warlords of Draenor questline, it requires Shadowlands questlines, and just a lot of stuff. Anyways, I wish you the best. I hope you get it. If you have trouble, check the other video for the requirements. And all in all, when you're done with this, the hardest part of the hunt is over. After the kind spirits are appeased, there will become a new ghostly chest available. Loot that, get the item you need, and let's move on. Next up is gonna be Isle of the Watchers in Ashuna from the Legion expansion. and you're gonna be needing the fledgling L, whether you bought it off the auction house or acquired it by other means. You're gonna be taking it to all of the L statues scattered throughout the Isle of the Watchers. And yeah, there's no order. Like, you just gotta go check every single one of them out and hope that your L will sniff them and get infused with the power. There are 4 powers. There's like green, red, blue, and pink. Was it pink or purple? Not sure. When you infuse it with all of the 4 powers, you can move on to the next step. Basically, if you interacted with the statue and something happened, you gotta stay there. Wait for your L to run in circles and get infused, and you get the magnifying glass above your head. Now you need to do all of them, and here's the location and the coordinates. It's also in the description. Showing every single one of them will again make this an hour-long video and nobody would watch them. When the owl is completely infused with the power of the statues, you're gonna be doing the Vault of the Wardens, and you need to clear the whole dungeon. You need to go to the last boss, kill the last boss, and then move back. So kindly just go inside that instance and do that while I wait for you to do that. Now that that's over, at the final boss, there is a mechanic in place. Well, you don't need to do the mechanic for the boss fight, but at the Mythic Plus we had this mechanic. There's this light orbs around the platform, and all we need is that light orb. Kindly take that light orb, and if you have killed the boss, kill it. If not, just shoot it, and go back to the first boss room. Before the first boss, there is this room in front of you when you first come in, and there is this altar that you cannot interact with it unless you have powered up your fledgling owl. Now, jokes on them, we already did that. So there's 4 flying colors around this altar, and we can easily loot this one. Secondly, we will take this sentry statue to the Glazer boss room, and this is where it gets a bit hard too. I'm sorry, the altars are the most annoying, but there's another puzzle, and you're gonna be needing an add-on for this. I have another video on the playlist again for this. Why didn't I make all of them in a single video? I have no idea. It would be more confusing if it was in a single video. So here, you're gonna put the owl statue right in the middle on this platform and spawn this ultimate sentry statue. Interacting with it will bring up the most annoying lights out puzzle you have ever done in your entire life. As of right now, the puzzle is not scripted, so it's specific only to your character, and the only way that you can actually do it is by mapping each of the platforms and seeing how it interacts with the puzzle. I tried to do it, I confess, and I failed. An hour later, I gave up. I went to the site and got the statue solver add-on. I have a video on how the add-on works, and after like 20 minutes I did the puzzle. It is a very hard version of the lights out. Feel free to do it yourself, but you can't. You just can't. Anyways, when it's done, a chest will spawn and you will gain another item that you need for the hunt. Bear with me for a few more minutes because we're nearly at the end and you will get the Felcycle. This part requires you to kill rats and count the rats to put statues on platforms. Now, this is weird again, but it's not as annoying or as hard as the altars and the owl statue. You can easily do this with a simple macro. You can also try to do it yourself, But the rats are tiny, so you might miss one, and if you miss one, it's just all messed up. You gotta do again and you will lose your mind. So kindly get the macro or any weak aura that is for this part of the hunt will work. So you come to this console, you will activate it with the previous items that we acquired. You will save this macro, put it on your action bar so you can spam it and just find the rats. Come to the console, spawn the rats, and then spam the macro over and over and over. Now the macro is in a way that it will mark and ping every rat, and be aware that the catacombs rats does not count toward the number that you are looking for. All you gotta do now is just run around the rat's revenge, spam the macro, and count the rats. So how many rats did you kill for the first run? Like if you have killed 5 rats for the first run, you gotta put certain number of statues or characters or pets on the plates. And you gotta do this for 3 times to unlock the Great Vault. Now I'll show you the table later, but this is how you put pressure on the plates. The color will tell you how many pressures are on that plate. It's a weird system, but there it is. So if I put a statue there and put my pet there, it will become green, and that counts as 2. So there are 2 people pushing that plate. If I get zapped, I did it wrong. If there is a click, you did it right, and you can move to the second set of the table. So this is gonna be annoying. You could get confused if you found out that you're messing up over and over. Going out of the rat's revenge and coming back to it might fix your issue. There are certain rats in this room, and you can only go there with that teleportation crystal that we got from the Muffin and the 9 coins. You can easily teleport there and be teleported there. Usually there is 1 to 2 rats here, and there is 1 rat in the other rooms, so make sure to check every corner of this dungeon. Like usually there are certain places that you will just miss, so it's best to use the macro and go at the double check every simple doorway, the hallways, everywhere. So this is how the locks work. The first row is the number of the rats you counted with the macro. Now, corresponding to that number, for the first set of locks, you use the second row, and so on. For the second lock, you will use the third, and for the third lock, you will use the 4th row of this table. The first number is the required pressure for the plates, and the P1, P2, and P3s are the location of the plate that you gotta just push. Here's the location for every pressure plate, the Enigma Machine, the main console, and every statue that you can find. The statues are more than enough, but they're scattered, so if you have a pet, just use the pet. I'm not gonna leave the macro in the description, but if you didn't get it from the video, here's the macro. Now, no worries, this is a safe script, so just run it, don't worry about it. But if you are, just go get a weak aura for it. When that's done, and you have completed the 3 set of locks, you should hear a click. Like there's a great lock has been opened. And well, congratulations! You have done the hard part. You just need to go pick up the mount now. But wait, it's not inside the vault. Like, there is this cool room here, and like, what is it for? Anyways, remember where we first met rats? Yeah, that hole in the wall that was tiny and we had to go down, and I always find the big one, not the small one, it's the small one. Yeah, you gotta go pick up the mount there. But when you first reach there, you cannot do anything. You need to equip your starry-eyed goggles that we got from the astral chest. Use the crystal, teleport up there, and you find one of those consoles that had us input the code. So input this code right there. And yeah, before you ask, those are 7s, not 1s. And there, you are now a proud owner of a Felcycle. There, it's done. I can move on from the playlist. I will see you in another playlist. I will never do a mount series ever again. See you guys, bye bye.